we're narcissists on this channel to provide awareness, growth, healing, and transformation. I do this by sharing my story, sharing the shit that's happened in my life to be able to communicate to you, to be able to wake you up to the relationship that you're currently in. The relationship you're currently in has you in a place of trauma, like a trauma bond, has you in a place of an addiction, has you in a place of a cycle that keeps going around and around and around. And no matter what happens, no matter what you do, no matter what you say, it continues to happen over and over and over again. You keep cycling back to this guy, this toxic guy in your life. This is what happens when you're in a toxic relationship, a trauma bond, an addiction. Oftentimes, this is when you're with a narcissist. So, I'm on here today to be able to talk about narcissism. So, feel free to be able to drop into the chat any questions you have about narcissism, narcissistic personality disorder, sort of part of my journey, part of my story, and how to actually heal from it. Because if you don't actually invest time and energy into your healing, nothing's going to change. Let's talk for a moment about victimhood. Victimhood happens when people have become victimized by toxic people, and then they stay in that mode thinking that they can't do anything about it. That's not true. What's true is you can actually change your reality. You can change your world. You can change how you're showing up for you. But you have to move away from victimhood. You've already moved through a lot where you've had to survive. Now it's time to move forward and actually thrive, grow and develop and be someone more than what you've been marked as. Your life is called to be more than just simply used and abused inside of this world. The question is, are you willing to do something different about it? Are you willing to take action to become a different version of you than the one who doesn't have any boundaries, than the one that's beat down mentally and emotionally, the one that's drained, the one that's stuck inside the toxic relationship? It's also your choice. People don't like this. Our society doesn't like this. The society doesn't like talking about victims or victimhood. Victimhood doesn't heal. Victimhood leaves you stuck saying it's not your fault and everybody else is to blame. But as a result, you don't actually heal. You don't actually move forward. Well, the stalking lasts a lifetime. He has been hunting me for the last 7 years. If he's been stalking you, I'd say you need to be documenting it and you need to be trying to get legal help to be able to get a restraining order and get him thrown in jail. Because if he's been stalking you for the last 7 years, it means it's not going to stop until there's actually legal action that puts the guy behind bars. Toxic people will lock onto a certain person. They won't let go until there's no other option except to let go by being in jail. So I would definitely recommend you getting some type of order of protection to be able to help make sure that he doesn't stick around. The hard part is when you're inside a toxic relationship, you start to think that the other person cares about you. Newsflash, he doesn't. The toxic guy in your life doesn't care about you at all. He literally treats you like a toaster, an appliance that's sitting on the shelf. He uses you and abuses you and gets what he wants. And when he's done with you, he puts you to the side and goes gets another toaster, another version of you to be able to do what he wants. Narcissist is trying to be able to get you to be a slave, get you to a place where you're just going after him. You're pursuing him. You're bowing down to him, basically. You're just serving him. Most people say they've lost themselves. They've lost themselves to the narcissist because they've given everything to him and everything else. David, get off my platform and stop producing a political agenda. I'm on here trying to help heal people, not to have you just wave your flag. I got called disrespectful for asking someone to dance Cotton Eye Joe. I don't understand why. So, I mean, a narcissist can oftentimes like make you feel like you're being disrespectful on anything. Oftentimes they'll do this. They'll try to like slowly condition you and be able to plant traps in one sense to try to get you to only do certain things. You're disrespectful because you looked at that guy. You're disrespectful because you did this. You're disrespectful because you did that. They're always going to do different things. They play reverse victim so well, 100%. Narcissist loves to play the victim because he's going to try to play the victim so that you actually try to fix him. How many of you have tried to fix the toxic guy in your life? Or you have a savior complex where you're thinking, hey, I need to make sure that I save this guy, that I actually help him. It's my calling, it's my purpose to save this guy. Yeah, guess what? You're screwed with that simply because no one can change anyone. You can't force him to change and develop, and you definitely can't be a savior. You don't even have the creds to be able to do that. There's only one person that came to this earth that actually was a savior, and guess what? That wasn't you. So when it comes down to it, when you're trying to actually save another person or fix another person, the problem is you start thinking that you can. No one can. You can't actually produce change in another person. You could provide an opportunity for it, but if he's not willing to be honest, nothing is going to change. I saw my narcissist again after watching your live. I shake my head. Yeah, you're gonna see your narcissist a lot of times cycle back in your life until you actually block, ghost, go no contact, so that you make sure that he doesn't have interaction, he doesn't have contact to you. When we say go no contact with a toxic person, it means that there is no way for him to be able to contact you. There is no way for him to be able to actually get to you. And so, like inside this, you have to make sure that you're focused on your growth, your development. If you have a place where he can still get into your life through social media, through text message, through email, he's going to do it. Now, sometimes people are like, oh, well, I'm better than this, so I'm going to go ahead and leave him unblocked and I'll just never respond to him, and that'll get him. The problem with this is you're playing into the narcissist's hand simply because he knows it's like a slow drip. He knows that eventually he will get through. And he always does. Simply because one day you'll be alone, you'll be tired, you'll be drunk, like there'll be a lot of different things that'll be happening in your life, and you will reach out. You will let him back in. He's counting on it. All of this, he's counting on it. Mine was 42 and would blame me for his drinking problem. Everything was wrong with him was my fault. Always going to blame it on you. Project it. Narcissists blame it. They'll always tell you it's your fault. When you don't accept it, then they say, actually, it was our fault. And then you accept it, and he's like, sweet, I don't have to worry about it because it actually was your fault. That's what they think inside your mind. Okay? Do you think epidemic of narcissism and BDSM relationship dynamics? I think BDSM relationship dynamics are going to breed more narcissists because of the dynamics there. 10 years. Window contact 2017. The healing journey has been a long road. I finally realized my partner had abused me like my narcissism mother. Mindy would love to be able to help you actually heal finally for it. In what we do, you can go to rawmotivations.com. I would love to be able to help you move forward inside of this. You can go to rawmotivations.com, click on the Survivor to Thriver. That's an opportunity that we have coming up. It's a very low cost ticket item with a pre-launch that we've just been running of getting you actually free from the trauma, from the triggers, from the trauma bond, all the different pieces that need to help you heal. When I go to his house, he just uses me for my weed, buying him food, and for sex. So that's all he's doing is just using and abusing you. The question is, when are you going to start valuing you? When are you going to start valuing you to the place that you set up boundaries? You actually leave. You start to value yourself because right now he doesn't value you. You don't value you, which is why he continues to use you over and over and over and over. Okay? All right. I need this. I'm stuck. Mindy, yeah, please reach out. Want to be able to help you because a lot of times people get stuck. Here's the thing, if you get stuck and you get stuck at this crossroads and you're not sure what to do, when you're not sure what to do, you stay confused and you stay stuck. When you stay stuck and you stay confused, you don't move. When you don't move, you die. Simply put, you die. You mentally and emotionally corrode inside because you're inside a toxic relationship that is eating you from the inside out. This is eradicating your confidence, your self-esteem, like who you actually are. You can't trust other people. You can't even trust yourself. It's going to slowly destroy you. How would one deal with someone that tells you they will kill themselves if you leave them? You tell them to call a therapist and you put them on suicide watch, call the police and say, hey, this person said they were going to kill themselves. They will use and manipulate every single thing to be able to continue to keep you in the relationship, which means you can't be blackmailed by this person because they will always blackmail you using whatever works. Miss Sarah, I already answered that. Do you think there's epidemic of narcissism, BDSM relationships? Yeah, 100%. I don't think that those relationships are going to help any dynamic of a healthy relationship. And typically, the people that are stuck in them want revenge, are bitter, and never heal. That's what I've seen pretty consistently. Mine tried to destroy me when I left. He threatened to kidnap the kids, called my job to get me fired, wiped all the money out of the account, and filed for full custody, and he got his family line to court. Yeah, they're going to do everything. This is why it's important when you start to make plans to be able to leave a relationship, you have to be so mentally and emotionally strong, but you also have to game plan. You have to have a game plan of how you're actually going to get out of this. Would you list some of the benefits of no contact in your opinion? Your life. Like no contact is not an option long term. Like long term, if you want to heal, you have to go to a certain level, if not completely, of no contact, because no contact gives you a buffer. If you don't have a buffer in your life, then you're always going to be victim to him. You're always going to be triggered. You're always going to have him controlling your life. And so if this buffer isn't there, it doesn't provide space and capacity in a container for you to actually heal. If that doesn't happen, no healing actually happens. Why do narcissists use manipulation to get their needs met? Because it works and because you keep allowing it to happen, so why not? A narcissist uses you like a vending machine that has no dollar limit. He walks up and he presses all your buttons until he gets what he wants. Then he takes it and he walks away. But the reason why he keeps coming back is because the vending machine is free. It doesn't cost him anything. It's just his normal manipulation, lies, and abuse. And he gets what he wants. Why do narcissists? I've been licking my wounds from the narcissist for about a year, putting me back together and moving forward. Angie, reach out. I don't know if you've been inside one of her challenges. I know I've interacted with you on a live before. I don't know if you've been inside one of her challenges. Like, let's help you actually move forward faster. I felt so mentally and physically drained after seeing him. They're going to suck you dry. He had access to my emails I didn't know, so he found out I was leaving. He treated me like a property, not a wife. 100%. Narcissist thinks that he owns you. He doesn't think that you're your own person, and he doesn't think that you're going to leave or that you're even going to have the guts to leave. Thank you for that clarification. I've disowned my narcissism mother and it felt deeper than no contact. Appreciate the transparency. Yeah, no contact with a family member is going to be extremely hard. Like, I'm not saying it's not going to be extremely hard. The thing you have to remember is you can't be around this person that says they love you and continues to abuse you, even if it's your family member. It's hard because there's a lot of pieces that you have to be able to break ties, you have to be able to move away from that. But the problem is you have to really look at it by the facts. This person says they love me. What is the demonstration? What is the evidence? We walk everybody that comes to us in the facts. If I don't get you clear on the facts, nothing's going to set you free. I was talking to somebody today and we were going through a call and they were applying for our Thriver community. And inside of that application, there was a piece where she was struggling trying to figure out finances. And so one of the things I challenged her with, I said, hey, after we get off the call, I want you to go sit down. If you don't have a budget, make a budget and then actually track everything. And she did. And she contacted me and she was like, you're right. I'm cutting X, Y, and Z out of my life so I can actually join the program because I realize how much money I'm wasting. Here's the thing. If I hadn't talked to her like that and said, I want you to go look at the facts, she would have stayed in her own story that said that she didn't have enough money to invest in her, when in reality, she was investing in a lot of things that weren't actually helping her move forward. The facts are the thing that are going to set you free. Period. Facts. Facts are the only thing that's going to set you free from the toxic relationship. Not your truth, not your stories, not your version of reality. The facts are the only thing that's going to set you free. Mine will send me pictures of another woman and come back like nothing ever happens. The question is, Melissa, why are you allowing him to do this? Because if he's sending you pictures of another woman, it means he doesn't give a shit about you. And it means you actually need to do something about you. You need to move forward into your growth and your development. Otherwise, you continue to lower your value and just be another prostitute that he's using. I say it that way, not just to be an asshole, but I say it that way to wake you up. Because that's all he's using you for. Why do narcissists push you to commit suicide? Oftentimes it's to get rid of you so they can move on to the next person, so they're abstained from anything that you do. Leaving the family cult. Do you talk about this? Seeking validation. Don't really know a whole lot of stuff about family cult. Wasn't in a family cult and don't really have a lot of background inside of that. When you go into contact with narcissistic family members, do they care why you left or do they not care at all? They care why you left to the point of you betrayed me, you gave up on me, you broke my heart. All these things that they're going to use to try to manipulate and give validation that they're the victim. In reality, they don't care the same way that you care. So the word care is probably the wrong way. They're frustrated that they can no longer manipulate you. Put it that way. We talk about how to avoid narcissists, but how can we help these people? Very quickly, you can live your life to the fullest with honesty and truth. And you can invite them to rise with you or get out of your life. You can heal, you can grow, and you can transform. And you can invite other people to go on this journey with you or they can get out of your life. Because if we're talking about narcissists and we're talking about how to help the narcissist, what the narcissist really needs to hear, no one's fucking coming to save you. Own your shit. Be honest. Because if he's unwilling to be honest, nothing changes. If he's unwilling to be honest, then all of your savior complex trying to fix him falls on empty ears. There are really demons in there. I don't really believe that. I think people can be possessed by demons. I think some people have demons, 100%. Do most narcissists have demons? No, I don't think so. Most narcissists are entitled assholes. And if you just let a human do what a human does and go to all of their wishes and desires with no morality, that's what you get. they're traumatized? What are we talking about? No, it's a sensitivity. All right, we have to clarify what y'all are trying to talk about. How to avoid narcissistic wife with 3 college and 1 high school kids. So, if you're in the relationship, 3 college and 1 high school. So the high school is getting ready to be where you don't have to have any contact after that. And at that point, you can communicate to the kids. You don't have to communicate to the other person. Demons aren't that strong. Demons definitely are that strong, but I don't think that demons need to mess that much with people. Like I literally think like you let a person do whatever they want whenever they want and have no consequences. Like you don't have to have a demon possess them. Like at that point they're just an entitled asshole. Is the narcissist traumatized? You're gonna have different people that are gonna believe that. There's different pieces. Hairline looking traumatized. Chonky, are you having fun making comments, or you actually want to be helpful in the healing? Trump 2004. How about we get back on the healing train, and everybody who wants to push agendas can go follow another person. I don't have time for you on here. Keep putting political and a bunch of crap in here, and I'll start blocking you. I don't have time to deal with your shit when I'm trying to help people heal. Because what's happening, there's people on here that are heavily traumatized and they're looking for hope and they're looking for healing. And a bunch of you on here are putting a bunch of stupid shit. Get off my fucking platform. I don't have time for you. I've got women on here that are going to die if they don't actually make a move. I've got people that are going to commit suicide if they don't actually hear the truth. And you want to push your stupid agenda? Get off my platform. Now, I'm not sure where we were on side of that. What are some of the red flags to look for when trying to avoid a narcissist? All right, Gino, you're getting blocked because you're an idiot. Some of the red flags. One of the things I would say is looking for someone who's not willing to take no. Just like I called out some of the trolls in here, and they didn't take no, right? They're not willing to actually just listen and help and provide, but instead they're going to be like, oh, this. So a narcissist oftentimes is not going to listen to your boundaries. Okay, narcissist is not going to listen to your boundaries, and narcissist is not going to listen to you saying no. They're going to throw a temper tantrum. They're going to get frustrated. Like all of this stuff is going to happen because they're unwilling to actually see the truth. They don't want to actually see reality that you're another human being that should be honored and respected. So as a result, they're going to continue to attack you over and over and over. So like when you say no, like you're treading on them. Like you say no, they're going to hate that. Narcissists not liking your boundaries, that's a huge one. Now you can have like the obvious, like an overt narcissist always talking about themselves, consumed about themselves, all those things. But you're going to have a lot of times more of the subtle pieces of a narcissist focusing on themselves, a narcissist focusing on what they want, gaslighting, seeing how they talk to other people, how they interact with other people, all these different things. I don't think a demon. I think it's brain damage. Could be a little bit of both. I don't think it's all of either one. Is it possible to be friends with a breakup with a narcissist I couldn't handle, so I just left? No, it's not possible. One, because they don't respect you, because they already used and abused you, and two, it's typically a way to try to be able to manipulate you. Okay. Offended hearing how you feel about how they made you feel. I'm not sure what that is going to. What about female covert narcissists? Don't know a clue about them, so I don't speak to them, and I also don't work with them. Do you purposely start fights to push them out the door? Narcissists do this. Yes, 100%. They purposely push and try to have fights with another person to push you out. Is it ever worth exposing a narcissist? You got to be very careful about that. A lot of times when you try to expose a narcissist, it's going to blow up in your face because they've already preconditioned other people around you. And a lot of times when you're trying to expose a narcissist, they're going to take what you say and they're going to throw it back on you. They're going to make you look like the crazy one. How's covert narcissist different from a sociopath? There's different nuances with it. Think of it this way: a sociopath is a narcissist. Not all narcissists are sociopaths. It's like a sliding scale. Narcissist, sociopath, psychopath. Okay, so like all sociopaths and psychopaths are narcissists. Okay, it's a sliding scale. You had really good questions further up. Badger, put them in instead of just telling me you had good questions because I'm not scrolling right now. Everybody's putting in too many comments. When narcissistic ghosts you, do they intend to come back? The one that I know is with a new supply. Doesn't matter. They can oftentimes come back. The reason why is they're going to continue to use and abuse if you let the door open. So make sure that they can't. How do you know you're dealing with one though? What you need to understand is at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Whoa, what did he say? This guy's a narcissist and now he's telling me it doesn't matter? Yeah, because I need you to understand the label doesn't freaking matter. Too many of you are going to be locked into the label. Why am I saying this? Because someone right now is going to be watching this live and thinking, if I can figure out he's a narcissist, then I'll leave. No, you need to look at the facts of your situation. Realize that you're in a toxic relationship that's mentally and emotionally abusive, and you need to leave. Whether you have a label or not, you're dealing with a liar, with a cheater, with a coward. You need to leave. The problem is you're looking for a label to justify you leaving. You're looking for a label to validate you. You're looking for a label to give you confidence. I want you to have your own confidence. I want you to build up who you actually are. This is what I do. I help take people that are confused, that feel like they're crazy and they're stuck in the chaos, and I bring you to a place of understanding how you develop your own clarity, your confidence, and your certainty of who you actually are. If I can help you with that, go to rawmotivations.com. We'd love to be able to help you move forward, but you have to understand if we don't build this confidence inside of you, you're going to be looking for a label. You're going to be looking for a therapist to justify you. You're going to be looking for other friends to validate you actually doing what needs to be done. How can you identify if your friend is a narcissist or has those tendencies? Look up some of my videos, DSM-5, 9 narcissistic traits, all those things on here. We talk a lot about that. Do they treat all partners the same eventually? Yes, to a degree, but abuse can always look different. So he could abuse you one way, abuse another person another way, abuse another person the next way, but that's going to still mess with your head. You're a narcissist, and this whole vibe is a bummer. I think you overcame narcissism by lording yourself over them. No, not necessarily, but you're welcome to your opinion, and I'll keep helping other people heal, grow, change, and develop because what we've seen is lives transformed by the radical truth of you hearing what narcissism actually is. And Badger, like you could have put other questions in because you said you had a bunch of great questions. You asked if you're being ignored, and you still didn't put any questions in. By the time you are on the narc tuber trying to figure out toxic relationships already done. That's not a healthy relationship. That's a good way to be able to put it. Turquoise sound. Like I like that. Like by the time you're looking up narcissism, like you probably have enough red flags to go off of it. How to figure out if I'm a narcissist or if I just deal with ones. Let's put it this way. Do you see a pervasive pattern inside of you consistently, or is it only around this person? Because a lot of times when you're questioning yourself, am I the narcissist? You need to start thinking, do you react and respond this way to other people or another one else? You keep patting yourself on the back for helping people, which is what I do. Okay, that's not a flex. Like I've worked with over 3,000 people. Okay, and going hard on narcissists is if you're not one. I go hard on narcissists because I am one. Do you get that? I don't give slack for a person who's narcissistic. I don't say, oh, they have a disorder, and I don't give them a fucking pass because they need to own up and they need to be honest, which is what I had to do. I'm not better than anyone else. I've dealt with so much shit in my life. I've invested so much time, energy, and money into my own healing. I don't give a narcissist a fucking pass. So when you come on here and you're like, oh, you think you're better than narcissists? No, I don't. I've been the worst of many narcissists. But I also know the path to find healing. And the guys that are unwilling to be honest can't work with them because nothing's going to change. Do you see that? I was with one and they just use people. They're the scum of the earth. They are going to use people, use and abuse people. Wouldn't it help if you just did better yourself? Badger, I am doing better myself. My life is amazing compared to what it was 5 years ago. Do I help narcissists? Yes, I do work with a select group of narcissists. There's not too many guys that reach out, but they do. And if they do, they can go to rawmotivations.com. The other thing is like, don't send them to me as far as like, don't schedule the appointment for them because I don't want to talk to them at that point. They have to actually understand and see and want to reach out. Do you feel remorse about your past and things you've done due to your narcissism? I never used to. That was a piece that I didn't really care about. Didn't really feel the guilt and compartmentalized it, really, was what it was. I pushed it away. Through all of it, it ended up being inside the healing piece of feeling not just the remorse and the guilt, but working through the shame of it. Narcissists never change because they believe they're never wrong. 100%. They believe they're never wrong, and also they never change because they're not willing to be honest. That's the big piece. If you can't convince the toxic guy in your life to be honest, then you're never going to convince him that he's a narcissist. Supposed to have an online meeting with my court appointment lawyer. The court sent me this link. Really? They sent me my channel? That's awesome. Do narcissists cut all communication when you say no? Not always, sometimes. If they do, it's a great sign for you to cut communication. I send a narcissist a link to your channel. I mean, there's always the hope of there's awareness, okay? Like, there's always a piece. I originally stumbled across, I think because my wife sent me Lee Hammock's channel, Mental Healness, sent me his channel, and I looked and at his stuff, and I was like, yeah, that's not me. This guy's an idiot. But then we talked about it later, and there's a whole journey. You can watch some of my videos on that, but like whole journey of me actually coming to the place of understanding and getting diagnosed and going to therapy and things like that. Becoming a better person. I feel like the best thing you could do is catch yourself on stream and point out instances of your own narcissistic tendencies in order to help us out. Sure, would love to be able to do that. Uh, but this piece of me growing, developing, like I'm not lording myself over other people. I work with a lot of narcissists. I work with a lot of assholes, just like I used to be. Did I play the victim? Yeah, there's definitely been people that have been the victim. Help others identify their own narcissism and acknowledging your own. So far, you've literally taken zero negative criticism, even remotely, to heart. Would love to have some actual like criticism that's actually helping here, because I haven't really seen much from you, Badger. Maybe we should try again. Hello, my name's Ben. I'm a self-aware narcissist, helping other people grow, change, heal, and develop. Would love to help you on your healing journey. But if you want to just keep coming on and attacking, well, then we can have other conversations. How do narcissists view apologies from others? Oftentimes, an acceptance of you accepting their abuse and going to continue to do it. Does your wife ever talk about her experience? Like, was she part of your healing journey? We have a podcast called Trauma, Drama, and Life. We've done 2 seasons. We haven't done a third season right now just because we literally just had our second kid. So there's a whole piece of that. Do you ever travel and speak at events whenever I'm invited? Do you have any opinions on indifference? Gonna have to give me a little more context than just indifference. Like, what are we talking about? His indifference, your indifference? Like, what is this? Now that you're aware, can you develop empathy? So there's an initial piece of developing cognitive empathy. Okay, that's like the mental understanding that you have feelings, that I have feelings, that there's emotions, all these different things that are going on. Okay, okay, nose. Uh, Badger, you're entitled to your opinion. Thanks for being here. Um, or was it? There is like cognitive empathy, but then after that, there's also deeper levels of healing that I think a person can get. I have different levels of emotional empathy. It's not the same level as like what you're gonna have, okay? And I don't know that it'll ever will be. Like if you start crying, I'm not necessarily gonna start crying. I'm not gonna have that heartstring pull, and all of a sudden I'm gonna start like tearing up. But I do find different instances where I will engage with emotion like better than what I have before. Any tips on dealing with flying monkeys? Same way you do with a narcissist. If they're not willing to acknowledge the truth, they've ascribed to that person's reality, and as a result, they're going to continue the abuse. How did you start to feel remorse? Did you have to work at it? Do you not feel empathy or other emotions the same way? So the empathy piece is more along the aspect of being willing to acknowledge another person's emotions. So not all narcissists are devoid of empathy. So let's be really clear on this. A lot of people get stuck on this because like people use the empathy train as like the number one thing. He doesn't have empathy, he's a narcissist. Okay, that's 1 out of 9. Okay. And the other thing you need to understand is it doesn't say that a narcissist is devoid of empathy. What the DSM-5 says a narcissist lacks empathy is unwilling to acknowledge or identify with the feelings and needs of others. Do you see the difference? What it means is when my wife was crying and sitting on the couch, there's a piece that goes off inside my head that says she's crying because of me, because of what I did. Therefore, if I go over and I give her a hug, I'm going to validate her emotions, which is going to validate that I'm the abuser here. Therefore, I can't do that because that's going to make me feel and look bad, so I'm not going to do that. Empathy was triggered because I knew what I needed to do, but I was not willing to actually deal with it. Badger, there's like 50 million questions on here. If you want to keep being an asshole, like I'll just block you because I'm not actually like dealing with, I'm answering questions, but I'm not going to deal with you just keep nagging me. Okay? Any insights or advice about indifference towards the narcissist? 100%. You got to change the story you believe. Okay? Have an archive of messages that compliment me? No, I don't actually. I don't have anything like that. Um, any insights about dealing with indifference is this piece if you have to change the story you believe. Like you believe a certain version of reality. Oftentimes it's like, hey, he loves me when he's actually abusing you. Like indifference comes to a place when you deal with the facts and you actually move forward. That makes sense. Acknowledging others' emotions. Yep. 100%. Mandy, sorry. I like clicked the wrong person. So I like undid it. Hopefully we're good. It like scrolled up when I was like clicking. What makes you a narcissist if you're helpful? What makes you a narcissist if you're helpful? how I've shown up in the past is what has made me a narcissist and had me diagnosed. So what I've done over the past 4 years and investing into my own healing development has made me helpful of who I am now. I just blocked Badger. So I don't mind going back and forth and like going toe to toe with people. But it comes to a place, I have this a lot of times, especially on YouTube. No offense, love y'all. But especially on YouTube, where I have different people where they just want to come in and fight. And then they'll ask a question, they'll say something, I answer it, and then that's not good enough. Okay. Feel like you're not an inherent narcissist, but may have picked up habits of insecurities. That's not what my diagnosis said or my therapy for 4 years and the thousands of dollars invested working on it. But I appreciate it. A true narcissist is unable to reach the point you're at right now. They have zero empathy. So that's not correct. We just talked about empathy. DSM-5 says they lack empathy, and we just give a whole illustration about is unwilling to identify or acknowledge the feelings and needs of others. DSM-5 does not say that they are devoid of empathy. It doesn't say that they're impossible. Okay, very helpful because the human magnet syndrome framework always makes me think of narcissist versus empath thing. You say not willing. Do you believe it's a conscious move? Are you or were you unwilling or unable? Here's the thing: it's like unwilling to do something that's going to put me in a place that's going to make me feel shame. That's the biggest piece. So like earlier tonight, our 5-year-old's been having a hard time like adjusting to our brand newborn, right? And so there was a moment where I'm getting frustrated with our 5-year-old because I wanted to plan something, wanted us to have a movie night, okay? Wanted us to have a cute movie night, and the 5-year-old just like wasn't gonna have it. So I'm frustrated, and then my wife is calling me out, and she like said, right now you need to take a moment because you're feeling shame. And I was like, I just sat there because I was like, she's right. Like there's a piece of like the shame piece that's always there that's like compelling. I've worked through a lot of shame. Like worked through a lot of different pieces of shame. But the end of it, like there's still shame there that's like wanting to be a trigger. Like it's a very much like a narcissist is going to get triggered with shame and is going to do anything to be able to avoid it. Yes, narcissists are shame avoidant. Think of it this way: narcissism, underlying river of narcissism is shame. Okay, underlying river, raging river of borderline is abandonment. Both of those are connected through rejection. So that's why you have different people that will connect very much between narcissism, borderline, all that kind of stuff. Okay. But yeah, shame is a giant piece of it. Because if you don't actually work through the shame piece, like a narcissist will never heal. They're always going to be triggered. Cluster BX blocked me everywhere after I told her sister she had issues. Why block me if I rarely contact her? Is that some way to kind of control the situation? Yeah, control the situation. If you have to expose a narcissist because you have to defend yourself in court for assets and custody, should you, or will you always lose when you expose a narcissist? I wouldn't say you're going to always lose. Just make sure inside the court system you're not touting the word narcissist. You're using like emotional safety, or you're using liar, like whatever you need to use. You're not going to be using like that. Okay, so that's a big piece. What are some key things that make narcissism stand out from other cluster Bs? I'm concerned I possibly fall under one of them. Like you're asking, what's the difference between narcissist, antisocial, histrionic, and borderline? I mean, when they're all going, like they're all toxic. So like that's a big piece. I hear people call the dark empath. Have you ever heard of that? Yeah, I don't dive into a bunch of it. I've like looked it up. I'm not. I don't. I wouldn't say I'm not super versed in it off the top of my head. Jackson, I haven't seen you interact enough to actually be a moderator. No offense. I just don't know who you are. So right now, no. He wants couples counseling. I know he'll manipulate therapists. 100%. Don't ever go to couples counseling with a narcissist because all they're going to do is manipulate and abuse and put it back on you. And definitely don't go to Christian counseling with a narcissist because you're going to get even used and abused even more. That's the whole piece is like you'll find a lot of Christianity and religion that screws people over and makes the relationship even worse because they're trying to guilt you into staying in there. You sound like a healing dark empath. Consider that. I know I'm not a dark empath. I've done enough research to be able to know that. But thanks. Appreciate it. I still don't have quite the clarity if narcissists are unwilling or unable to empathize, self-reflect. You've done a wonderful job. It's just complex. They're all going to have different levels. At the end of the day, if they're not willing to be honest with themselves, like they're never going to be able to do it. Can a person self-reflect? Yeah, there's a level that they can, but it's also is like depending on like how much lies have been already put there. What impulsed you to change your toxic behavior? It's a million different things. Part of it was learning about shame, that my emotions were different than other people, that my personality was different than other people. Eventually went to EMDR therapy, went to a sex addiction intensive, got into regular therapy. There's a lot of different pieces. How to get away from a female narcissist, same way you do a regular narcissist. You leave, block, ghost, go no contact. Seeing healing firsthand, he will do it. Just because you deny doesn't negate truth. What's false? I don't know what you're responding to. What treatment programs work best for the narcissist or for the survivor? How will you help your kids not become narcissists? One of the ways that we're doing it right now was this little handy thing. It's called the Calm Down Corner. Stuff we even teach inside of like triggering things, grounding yourself, and then our 5-year-old will be like, I need to look at the sheet, and then we start working through what emotions are you feeling, like what ways do we need to actually work about like going through stuff. Responding to your comment about the Christian faith. False. I've seen the healing firsthand. Yeah, well, I've seen a lot of it not be healing firsthand. I've seen a lot of toxicity coming from Christianity, because Christianity as a whole, oftentimes the church is about conformity versus it is actually connection with God. And when you get a person inside of working with a Christian counselor, the Christian counselor thinks that the narcissist is coming to repair the marriage. And oftentimes they're very naive, very blind. They don't actually look at narcissism to a place of calling it out, and they perpetuate the abuse, guilting the wife into staying into a toxic relationship because divorce is wrong. That's what they say. I don't think it's wrong, and it's also in the Bible that it's not wrong. But people want to be able to go off of all of this piece inside of Christianity. Here's the thing. I have a connection with God, and I believe in God, and I trust in God, and he's been huge inside my healing. But it was not huge inside of the church, because the church didn't help. The church fell short, because the church is a bunch of oftentimes religious conformity, trying to get people to do certain things and look certain ways, and built up with a lot of plastic people that don't actually deal with real shit in their lives, because they're unwilling to actually say what's going on inside, because they show up at church and they say everything's fine while they're back home looking at pornography and abusing their wife. How I'm helping my kids is by working through their emotions, like helping them actually work through. Like helping them actually work through their emotions so that they don't turn into a place where they can't deal with their emotions, because you have to be able to provide an emotionally safe place for your kids. Like if you don't provide an emotionally safe place for your kids, then they end up dealing with shame and guilt and running and hiding. Born Southern Baptist, they use guilt and shame to control. 100%. Guilt is when you feel bad about something you did. Shame is feeling there's something wrong with you. You're bad. Yeah, 100%. But that's what, like I'm gonna just rephrase what you said, but you're saying like that. Guilt is I did something bad. Shame, I am bad. So like narcissists go from guilt, then they go to shame, then they go to blame. How do I get it, project it, push it off to someone else? When that doesn't work, then they go to rage. Okay? Then they go through the whole cycle all over again. Thank you for calling out many of the issues within the church. What's the first step in the narcissist having self-awareness? Honesty. That's it. Like there's nothing huge. It's honesty. What treatment plans works for narcissists? I'm trying to help my parents. I work with narcissistic males. I don't work with narcissistic females. So they could always reach out and go to rawmotivation.com. There's a way to be able to look at it there. I've got one place for women survivors and male narcissists. A biggest piece is like the honesty piece. If they're not willing to be honest, nothing changes. So an underlying framework for narcissism is shame, or to avoid shame. Yeah, that'd be like one of the biggest things underneath that's going to propel a lot of the actions. Feel shame, blame. Feel shame, project. Feel shame, abuse. Whatever it is that's going to get me out of the way, that's what the narcissist is feeling and thinking. So like think of it this way. I've used these illustrations, and oftentimes this makes the most sense. I'm standing here. You're standing behind me. Down the road, there's a car that's driving about 60 miles an hour, and he's coming straight at us. As the car gets closer and closer and closer to us, you can see on the front bumper it says shame and guilt. Now, I know as that car gets closer and closer to me, it's going to impact me. It's going to hurt me. It's going to harm me. It's going to cause a lot of damage in my life. So as a result, as the car gets closer, I jump out of the way and the car runs over you. Oh, see, look, there's my puppy right there. The car runs over you. This is what's happening inside the toxic relationship. He sees that shame is going to impact him. He sees that this is going to happen, and he moves out of the way, and it ends up impacting you. And the thought going through his head in that moment is, At least I didn't get hurt. So he doesn't care. Does that make sense? If you were a bowl of soup, what kind of soup would you be? I would be broccoli and cheddar soup, but that's really because that's about my favorite soup. That's about it. That or corn chowder. It's random, I know. No male survivors. There's lots of male survivors. They're just not ones that I work with. A lot of times when there's been guys that have been cheated on or abused, I'll send them over to Genuine Attraction. Ed Baxter is the guy that runs that. There's been a lot of guys who found healing there. It just doesn't work inside of my programs, and I don't connect. So I don't deal with male survivors, and I don't deal with female narcissists. Makes it really easy because then I can be able to see exactly how to help people move forward. Division in the church is an issue. Unfortunately, having brothers and sisters help one take accountability for misdeeds is crucial. If one feels attacked by accountability, then look within. How can I get him to realize he's a narcissist? Work on him being honest first. If he's not willing to be honest, he's not gonna admit that he's a narcissist. If the guy's got cancer and he won't actually admit that he's got an ingrown toenail, forget talking about cancer. Like that's what you need to understand. So like that's what your question's saying is like, how do I get him to understand he has cancer when he won't acknowledge that he has an ingrown toenail? Get him to acknowledge the ingrown toenail first and then work from there. He has to be able to see that he's a liar. If he doesn't see that he's a liar, nothing else is going to fix. He called me fat and ugly. I got in top shape. The abuse got worse. So weird. Yeah, because you started to gain back your power and control over you. He wants to make sure that you stay fat and ugly so that you keep coming back to him for validation. When you start moving to a place that you don't have to have that validation from him, he realizes, oh, I can lose control of this woman. Like she can actually go and do whatever she wants. She can get someone else. So as a result, the abuse is going to get worse. What emotion underlies this so-called super empath? Not a huge fan of the term super empath, and I'm not well versed in it. Honestly, when we start moving into some of those extraneous terms, I kind of think they're a little ridiculous, but that's just my own, maybe narcissistic opinion. Let's see, super empaths has an uncanny ability to feel others' emotions. Unlike normal empaths, super empaths don't just sense other people's feelings, they physically feel them. Super empaths are incredibly intuitive, compassionate, making them exceptional friends and partners. You can be a super empath all you want, but if you don't know how to actually have boundaries and be able to look at the situation through facts, you're going to be screwed. So, like, you need to learn how to have healthy boundaries. Someone said question. How can you be certain you're helping others and not just looking for more narcissistic supply? One, because everybody on here would be pretty crappy narcissistic supply. And do you have a mentor overseeing your efforts and keeping your NPD in check? So, Sam, thanks for asking. Appreciate it. I've actually got 2 therapists that I work with that I see every single week. I also have a mentor that works with me as well, keep me honest. And I also have a group of several guys that keep me honest and accountable too. So yeah, there's a lot of it. Plus, there's also being in therapy for over 4 years every single week. There's me being in groups of men keeping me accountable, and there's me investing over the past 3 years, maybe over 4 years, over $150,000 into my healing. So I'm very committed on transforming who I am on a day-to-day basis so that I don't slip back into old patterns, which is one of the reasons why I'm very vocal about narcissistic abuse, my narcissism, things that I've struggled with, things that I do struggle with, because when I'm very vocal about it, one, what it does is it helps burn the ships because everybody knows about my life. It also opens up for a lot more people attacking, which it is what it is. People are going to call me narcissistic no matter what I do. I could be super nice, I could be super mean, it's still going to fall into the same thing. Someone's not going to do it. Yeah, but that's a great question. Do you have a video that will help him see that he's a narcissist? I don't really have a ton of them. There's one that I used to have a while ago that was just like, no one's coming to save you. Like, just understand, dude, like, as a narcissist, no one's coming to save you. Biggest thing. Empaths are people with just poor boundaries. I wouldn't say that. That's a little bit too blanket statement, but I get where you're going with that. Can women narcissists have the same problems? Yeah, 100%. I believe I may be a narcissist. Roommate friend told me I wasn't allowed to seek therapy and still live in our apartment because she believed I would use them for validation. Am I the actual narcissist? Not really sure where we're going with that. I would go ahead and seek therapy. If you think you're a narcissist, then go ahead and start checking it out. Check out the 9 diagnostic traits and be able to see. Is it wrong to want to leave your marriage to a narcissist? No, not at all. Nikesha, are you asking that because like morality it's like wrong or like spiritually it's like wrong? Like what's the piece behind that that's making you question? Curious about that. My son is with a covert narcissist. How do I stop the triangulation so he's not turned against me by lies? Like he's got to be able to see it. That's like the hardest thing. He's got to be able to see it. And it's hard because if you go attacking her, he's not going to see it. He's got to come to that awareness. You just gave that woman a horrible answer, the one about a toenail. Okay. Uh, Maybe tell me a little bit more or prove me wrong. But at the end of the day, if you're trying to convince a person that he's a narcissist and he can't admit that he's a liar, then you're screwed. You go and you just tell him he's a narcissist, he's going to project it back on you, he's going to abuse you more, and he's going to come back at you. So I don't believe I gave that woman a horrible answer, but she needs to see the reality that if she's trying to convince him that he's a narcissist and he's not willing to admit that he's like a liar, nothing's going to happen and she's going to get abused even more. I've worked with over 3,000 people, so like when I give this advice, it's not just something that I just pulled out of my ass. Like it's also something that I've seen be used and abused multiple times. And so many people go and tell their narcissist that they're a narcissist. And as a result, they get used and abused. Like they come back at themselves. Should I stay in a narcissistic relationship? Change narcissistic to abusive and then ask yourself the same question. Because I want you to start seeing the facts for it. Don't look at the label, look at the facts. What are the facts about your current relationship? Is he using and abusing you? Then no, you don't want to be in that relationship. My ex-narcissist uses kids to try to make me feel guilty for leaving. Yeah, 100%. What do you think about narcissist mothers? Same thing as narcissistic fathers. Same thing as like they're like if they're not willing to be honest and if they're not willing to hold boundaries, like actually respect your boundaries, then you need to move forward, like in your growth, in your development. Can a narcissist love? Typically, a narcissist version of love is different than yours. So the question is like, what version of love do you actually want? My version of love in the past was control. So like, if I was loving someone, I was controlling them. Okay. So like, does that look like love to you? No, not at all. So a lot of times a narcissist can't love until they're willing to drop the wall of ego. How have girls reacted to your personality in the past? Not negatively, which is why I got into so many affairs, which is why I cheated. Because there was a piece of being able to manipulate, to convince, to work with other people to get them to be with me. Okay, like I'm not proud of it. I'm not touting that as like, oh, look at me. Like that's a bad part of my past and a part that I'd like never want to repeat, and I'm not going to because of who I'm growing and developing. But it wasn't a piece of where they reacted like negatively, if that's what you're asking. Yes, I'm asking. It's like I'm going to lose my mind, and he's very negative. So, Nikesha, what's holding you back from leaving? Are you looking for a label to leave, or what? Thank you for answering Wisdom 1. Question 2A. On a scale of 1 to 10, do you value Professor Vaknin's lectures? I never listened to him, so I can't really give you a scale. Sam says that we're talking to no one. Do you understand what that means? As far as like you're talking to no one being like the narcissist, no one, he could be talking about, he could be moving into a piece of like trying to identify with like the ego or even like the personality, a different piece like that. I'm not exactly sure because I don't listen to Sam Vaknin. Nothing against him, but I don't listen to him. But yeah, I was not aware of what a narcissist is. The abuse is overwhelming, 100%. How do you deal with the smear campaigns and flying monkeys from female narcissists who are seeking to destroy their main supply and reputation? What about the false accusations they claim in court? Show it with evidence and with proof. With smear campaigns, you can't really fight them. You can fight them sometimes legally, but you can't really fight them by going around and saying, it's not me, all this kind of stuff. Can you be a narcissist if you seek help? Yeah, 100%. Don't believe like that pithy saying that a lot of people say, well, if you're asking if you're a narcissist, you're not one. There's narcissists out there that are using that and abusing people because of that, because they put it out there. Am I a narcissist? Then people say no, and then they go back and be like, see, I'm not a narcissist, and they keep doing the same thing. How do you believe your experience with being a narcissist yourself has helped mold your work with helping others? What would you say is the hardest part of being narcissist with your work? That's a really cool question. I don't think I've ever had anyone ask me any question remotely close to that. It's a really good question. There's a lot of my past that has molded who I am now. And so when I look on the past, I don't look on the past being thankful for the abuse that I caused. And I don't look at the past being thankful for all the things that happened. But there is also a piece that if I hadn't done those things and if I hadn't been led through those things, and if that hadn't happened in my life, I also wouldn't be here being able to shed light on it. That's not excusing. That's not playing victim. And that's not like, that's just me just saying, like, okay, like the past has brought me to this place. Now being at this place, it gives me a different perspective. So when I work with people, we've got lots of people that work with us inside of our Thriver community, realmotivations.com. We've got a lot of people that work inside of there finding healing and finding closure that they're never going to get from the toxic guy in their life, simply because he's never going to be honest. But when they're able to see it in a different light and break it down logically to be able to connect their head and their heart, that's where it's different. Part of it that I would say it helps inside of the work is I'm able to look at people's situations and not get sucked into such an emotional level that I can't help them walk out of it. Like that's one of the biggest pieces. How often do people raised by narcissists turn out to be narcissistic? Oftentimes, if they're not getting healing, they either turn out narcissistic or codependent. Love God first and the rest will follow. I love that advice, but at the same time, just loving God and not getting honest doesn't do anything. Like that was one of the pieces that was frustrating to me is in being inside the church and everything, people would be like, just love God more. And I was like, that's great, but that's not stopping me from abusing. That's not stopping me from lying. Because there's a whole lot of other stuff that was like stuck there. He's holding my stuff hostage, advice on how to handle that. I'd get the police involved, get something legal, or get someone else to go by. No, no worries. Yeah, there's nothing to prove here. The important thing is get the narcissist stop abusing. Yeah, 100%. Can you be a narcissist? Yeah, I already answered that. I'm trying to catch up. I'm just gonna jump. If I missed your question, just put it in again. Jesus will help. We got to put the work in. Okay, that's a better way to put it. Okay, I'll agree with that. When I need some financial help, he was the one to be there to help. However, we got married. His life, his mask fell off. 100% scary. He tends to want to take revenge or punish you. Yeah, so just be careful. What type of narcissist are you? Over covert? I would be more on the covert side. To love God and follow His word, and His word pride is His end. 100%, I get it, but like just people touting that phrase doesn't do shit. Like you're just telling people to love God more doesn't help them to actually do anything different because you're not actually willing to walk into the darkness with them to help lead them out. Just telling people to love God more doesn't help. Why are you giving me that look? My wife's like, give me a look like you're getting fiery tonight. I'm like, yeah, you just came down. And you do the inner work. Why does my narcissistic abusive husband I escaped want to keep my things after 6 months? Control and power over you. My narcissistic boyfriend literally is insane. How are you narcissist? You look like the most average person ever created. Most narcissists don't look like insane people. They look like normal people that are just going to hurt, use, and abuse. Ooh, can I have some of that? There's a lot there. We chopped up a watermelon the other day, and it's like amazing. Most abusers in church are covert. Image management is a big focus. 100%. Image management is huge. Have a bowl? Or are you just gonna eat it out of the bag? My wife's got like this big old bag of like watermelon. She's just like snacking over here. Repent. Repentance is a key word here. Yeah, but you can't repent if you're not willing to be honest. Okay? I'm not adding stuff to like spirituality. I'm just saying you can't get to spirituality if you're a liar. Like if you're not willing to acknowledge that you're a liar, if you're not willing to actually work through the lies, then everything else doesn't work. God is not a narcissist that's going to force you to repentance. Unless you actually see the honesty, nothing's actually going to change. Do narcissists, can they get suicidal? Yes, they can. You're going to see more of that inside of borderline than you are narcissistic. Okay? Do you believe in forgiveness being key to growth? 100%. If you can't forgive, you won't actually heal long term. Okay? My boyfriend is a narcissist and angrily stares at me. His eyes are black and blank. Yeah, I'd leave. Question 3. Sam, you've got some great questions, by the way, and I appreciate just the back and forth. Okay? This guy's pretty cool. What happens if you just stop this and try to do stuff where you're not the center of attention? Do you start feeling deflated? NPU, EDU says you need supply like we need auction. So the question I would pose to you, Sam, is supply always bad? Bear with me for a second. Is supply always bad? Now, if supply is here to be able to feed ego and just beef someone up, then yeah, that's not actually helping. But there's also a piece of like when you're dealing with athletes, they're going off of supply, they're going off of the applause, they're going off of the excitement, they're going off the adrenaline. You have to be able to see what is this supply piece that you're attaching to, and is it actually negative? There could be positive supply in someone's life. You have supply for you. You have positive moments, you have positive feelings, you have different things that engages like you in a different way. The difference is what I'm doing on social media, what I'm doing here is putting myself in the limelight, not because I'm like, oh, look at me because I'm so amazing. It's, hey, look at me so I can show you what your abuser's thinking, what he's done, and also how to help heal from it. Does that make sense? I appreciate you engaging and like I like gave you like a big compliment and then you're like, what about this? No, but it was a great question. Okay. And I love how you're asking like this. You're a great example of like asking questions, but you're also not being a jerk about it. Thank your wife, please, for being willing to have this out there. They said thank you. Because of what? Oh, yeah. She said it was not easy at first because of the hate. It's very true. Like a lot of people would hate my wife early on And people still do, but like a lot of people would hate my wife early on simply because, like, oh, you're with a narcissist, all that kind of stuff. Did your wife call you out when you're manipulating? No, not as much in the past. If there's any of those tendencies now, then yeah, 100%. Do you consider borderline narcissistic too in some ways? Because I've seen some traits that are very abusive. A borderline that's toxic is definitely like just up there. One of the people that I was with was borderline, and that person really screwed me up. So yeah, I would definitely would say that they're very toxic. Um, Someone just said Judas Iscariot was a narcissist and he committed suicide after he felt convicted of such an evil act that he did. That's super interesting because I like my first impression is I don't agree with that. What are your thoughts, Kayla? Yeah, that's just really fascinating. I don't know. I'm gonna camp on that for a second. That's really fascinating. Kayla agrees with me. She doesn't think he was a narcissist. I love it. Like that's a really interesting thought. I'm gonna repeat what she says because I don't think you can hear with this headset. She said she would be curious to know why you think that. I would too. So put that in there. My wife is screaming violent, suicidal. She shot herself in the head in front of me. I didn't know these kind of people existed. I'm so sorry to hear that. Like these people do exist and they cause a lot of trauma. But an audience knows what to expect at a football or a concert. Yeah, and y'all know what to expect here. Real, raw truth, and hopefully helping provide transformation because that's what we do with the clients we work with. Can you be a borderline and be a narcissist at the same time? 100%. Is inconsistency common among narcissists? Yes, absolutely. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and helpful. Absolutely. I hate myself. I wish I could be better. Every day I think about how much I am a weight to other people. Is it trying to remove myself to all relationships so I can trust myself to be a guy? If you're struggling with that, PL, like reach out. We'd love to be able to talk to you. Go to my website, rawmotivation.com. Webster, what is up, man? It's good to see you, man. Love you too, bro. It's awesome. I haven't talked to you in like forever. Unless I'm like hitting you up being like, hey, pay the Disney Plus bill or something like that. Hey man, it's good to see you. Worst advice you ever got by someone trying to help you that didn't understand narcissism? I'm guessing it was from me, but I want everyone to hear it to help not make the same mistake. Dude, I don't even know that you gave me the worst advice. Worst advice that someone ever gave me about dealing with narcissism. I mean, honestly, like I would say a piece of it was in Christian realms of people just saying, just love God. Because there was a piece of me that was like blocked. Like I was like, okay, I know God and I know to love God, but I don't know how to stop what I'm doing. Because in reality, I wasn't willing to like eradicate the lies in my life. I wasn't willing to actually be honest. And that's the piece where I don't deviate from it being like, oh, I'm adding something to Christianity or like spiritually bypassing or avoiding something. But it's also this piece like if you can't be honest, you can't actually have a connection with other people. You can't actually have a connection with God. Like that's the whole thing. It's like people want narcissists to be changed, to transform, to be saved, like get the demon out of them, all that kind of stuff. But if the guy doesn't admit that he's actually a liar, nothing's actually going to happen. Jonathan, I'd be curious, like, if you remember your advice, because that was a while ago. Penelope, stop making stupid comments or you're going to get blocked. Can you be borderline narcissist at the same time? Yes. Was narcissist childhood upbringing look like? Uh, misspelled football. You're good. Narcissist childhood could be all different. Like the biggest thing is like being able to process shame and guilt. If a person doesn't grow up learning how to do that, then it's a big issue. Are you a narcissist? Yes, 100%. Welcome to the channel. Did your wife call you out when you were being manipulative? Not as much in the past. Now, if there's anything like that, 100%. I want to eat my watermelon. What? Oh yeah. Oh crap. I didn't see it. If the person that said that Judas Iscariot was a narcissist is in here, put in your comment again of why you think that because I think I lost. Um, Gosh, there's so many good questions here. I'm sorry if I'm missing why I'm missing some. So it's not on purpose. If I miss it, just put it in again. Once I answer it, then I'll tell you answer it. Sam, hey, what up? Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to ask the questions. It's useful to me educate myself and sometimes others. Untreated narcissists seem like a real modern day vampire. I have an idea. Continued. Okay, I'll bite. Where is it? Continued. Where are you? There we go. I have this idea that narcissists might be able to develop sympathy parts of their brain via neuroplasticity. I would think you're correct. Simply because there's so much stuff that they're working on. There's even stuff that they're working on, even in like sound waves, of opening up, working on like expanding the gray matter so someone can actually feel differently. Narcissists need a safe place and people to grow out of the issue. Not sure I 100% agree with that. Webster, what's up? Fake it till you make it, which it came when it came to relationship with your wife, which was the complete opposite of what I should have given. Oh, okay. Webster said fake it till you make it. She's right here in the kitchen, so that's awesome. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, it was complete opposite advice of what I should get him. Yeah, I mean, there's a huge piece that, biggest piece is I was just a liar. I mean, that was the biggest piece. Exposure had to happen. The lies had to get exposed, and I had to start working on it. How do you know if you are a narcissist? One, I would start researching it. So I'd look up the 9 diagnostic traits. You can look up on my platform. We got DSM-5. It goes through all the 9 traits. So be able to check that out. Watermelon's the best. Enjoy it. Okay. Can my husband not be a narcissist to a new woman? No, if he's a narcissist, he's gonna stay that way. He's just like convincing you and making you look like you're the crazy one because he's treating someone completely different. Gosh, I'm sorry. There's so many good questions in here. Wish I could save all these. What kind of people do narcissists attack? The one that don't know who they are, and the one that don't have boundaries. Can my I can't read them fast enough. Saw a biblical list of narcissists and Judas on the list according to a few videos I observed. Interesting. Not sure I agree, but I have to think about it more. How long were you separated with Kayla until you started being honest and take accountability during your reunion? How many sources did you go through manipulated to cope during the separation? So full transparency, I cheated 5 times. First one was a year relationship, and then confessed that. And then the other 4 basically dropped the bomb of like, hey, all these 4 happened all at the same time. As far as like I told her all at the same time. At that point, then there was went to sex addiction therapy, went to EMDR therapy, went to regular therapy, was in therapy for about 5 months, and then she left. She left because, regardless of the therapy, I still wasn't showing up different. There was still pieces of transformation that weren't happening, and part of that was just coming down to the fact that I wasn't doing the work required. I wasn't investing in her. I wasn't investing in myself with being honest. There was honesty, but there wasn't vulnerability. So there's a lot of different pieces there. Is shame the reason they will blatantly lie, even if there's undeniable proof? Yeah, 100%. Revisit the ending of Clockwork Orange. I don't really know anything about that. Narcissism, other mental issues may be due to freezing in the face of fear. This is called cowardice. The narcissist person needs help facing their fear. I needed to be exposed as being a liar. I didn't need someone to come alongside me and hold my hand. Join because I thought it was help get me out of my head. Yeah, there was never commitment. Yeah, a lot of times narcissist is not going to commit. Someone put in the comments earlier rumination. Rumination can only be broken by the story you're telling yourself. Until you actually change the story that you're believing, you'll continue to ruminate no matter what. This is a piece of trauma bonding. Trauma bonding is where you get stuck to a toxic person and you keep going back mentally and emotionally all the time. One of the things that I work on helping people do is breaking the triggers and breaking the trauma bond. If we don't help you actually break it, nothing will change for you. Can a narcissist change? 100%. They change all the time. They change for you. They change for the new supply. They change for the people at church. They change for their bosses. They change for everyone. Question is not, will they change? Question is, will he transform? Which means, will he do it without you? Will he actually invest time and energy into himself to transform his mindset from the inside out? Narcissists change all the time. Do narcissists drink and then blame you for everything and bring the fast? Yeah, 100%. Flying monkeys mentally weak or narcissistic too? I would say both. Are you familiar with Tim Fletcher's work? I'm not. Do you believe that most narcissists are byproducts of complex trauma, or is it purely biological? I don't believe it's biological. I think it's all in the upbringing. I don't think it has to be trauma. It could be emotional neglect. It could be an overbearing parent. It could be an over-enabling parent. If love is control, what happens if you don't let them have control? Only 2 options: be a doormat or release them. Yeah, 100%. You want to grow and develop you. How do you know when a narcissist cheats? Do they admit it and stop cheating without therapy? Typically, no. What about female narcissists? Take whatever I say and put female in front of it. I don't talk about female narcissists. I don't deal with them. Can a narcissist stop being a narcissist, or is it an inherent thing that will never go away? When does a narcissist stop being a narcissist? The biggest thing would be when they stop acting narcissistically. There's an unpopular opinion, but it's at the same aspect as when does a liar stop being a liar? When he stops telling lies. When does a narcissist stop being a narcissist? When he stops exhibiting the 9 diagnostic traits of narcissism. Not many people are going to fall in that camp. Not many people are going to like that. You definitely need to stop being a doormat, 100%. That was not what I was alluding to. Once exposed, the narcissistic person needs help facing their fears. I think most people who have mental issues are dealing with cowardice as well. I would say a lot of narcissists are cowards, but I don't find a lot of people that come beside them and hold their hand and sing kumbaya that makes a narcissist change. Just haven't seen it. What was your actual diagnosis on NPD? Can a narcissist become a sex addict, or is it just a coping mechanism? Yeah, they could be a sex addict. A lot of times they're trying to use sex addict to be able to hide the narcissism. Why is it hard for narcissists to commit in romantic relationships? Because they don't want to be controlled to another person. They want to be able to go with someone else. I was accused of cheating. Is it likely because he was cheating? But narcissistically, yeah, oftentimes. Narcissist is a mesh with his mother, is ruining our marriage. I tend to only like narcissists. Something wrong with you. It's your image. Not your image of you, but your image of the person for your relationship, oftentimes constructed by early childhood, by your father, by an initial relationship that puts this image and puts this comfort of who this actual person is supposed to be. And so as a result, you'll continue to go back to this person over and over. It's annoying listening to me chew. Sorry. 12 years together. Our son is 9 and can't stand. My wife's like cracking up over there. And my son is 9 and can't stand him. How do I help him heal? Our son is 9 and can't stand him. Can't stand the son, or can't stand the guy you're with? Sorry, I was confused on that. Can narcissists truly fall in love? Not without getting over their ego. How do you know you're dealing with one? What are the signs to look out for? The label doesn't matter. Toxic is toxic. Look at the facts. Not wondering if this person is the narcissist or not. Otherwise, you'll waste too much time. How do you signs to look for? I've got a lot of red flag videos. I've got a lot of narcissistic trait videos, so you can watch through all of those. I've turned my back on narcissistic sister for the benefit of my own healing. It's the best thing I could have ever done. My husband doesn't want to leave when I ask for separation, and he doesn't love me anymore. Why isn't he leaving? One, because he's comfortable there, and two, because if he leaves, then he looks like the bad guy. But if you leave, then you look like the bad guy, and he gets off scot-free. At least in his mind, that's what he's doing. What are some of the really common issues in relationships with narcissists? Abuse. As the most common issue with relationships with narcissists. Narcissists abusing, manipulating, gaslighting, lying, cheating, all of the things to be able to mess with you, and it produces a lot of symptoms and a lot of issues, mentally and emotionally destroying you, your self-esteem, your confidence, isolating you from other relationships, making you not present with your kids anymore, leaving you with no purpose, no direction, because all of your life and purpose has been just about him, and also dealing with the stress and the anxiety that racks your physical body. Giving you autoimmune disease, gut health, insomnia, weight fluctuation, weight gain, all those things. Can aware narcissists fall in love, or is it just manipulation? It all comes back to the ego piece when we're talking about love, because his version of love, if it's going to be either control or if it's going to be about himself, like if he's not willing to actually like put himself down to be able to say, hey, I love and respect someone else, his ego is always in the way. It's like if you have this big wall in front of you that's ego, and you're like, give the person the other side of the wall a hug. You can't do that. Like the ego has to be able to go down before a narcissist can actually love. Does that make sense? Does a narcissist feel guilty? Yes, but it's quick, it's microscopic, and gets compartmentalized. I hope you stick around a bit longer. Sending a friend in. Sam, appreciate it. You've been awesome. Can you please elaborate more on why people will be attracted to narcissism as a pattern unknowingly? It's because of what has shaped their original image, or the abagno, like what they're actually thinking and believing inside the relationship. So oftentimes people have been conditioned or used to it based on their upbringing, based on their mom and dad and how they got treated. They got used to dealing with the toxicity and being in a toxic environment. Now, maybe your parents are positive, but maybe they didn't help on the emotional side. So then you're looking for like, hey, this is something that's affecting you you emotionally, and as a result, you go to someone else that affects you emotionally as well, and it continues this cycle. The thing is, if you don't actually heal from it, it's going to continue on no matter what. So people are like, I'm a narcissistic magnet. No, you don't know who you are, and you don't have strong boundaries. And as a result, you continue to go to someone else looking for validation or looking for someone else to be able to beef you up or be able to like say, okay, this is what's going on, to give you time and attention. So all different types of things like that, because oftentimes a narcissist is trying to be able to continue to have this supply keep coming back to them over and over and over. Never think of running to a narcissist live to learn how to escape and understand with NPD. Meg, no, I appreciate it, but that's the interesting thing. Like that's what we do, and that's what we provide: help and healing. The main focus is helping people break away from the triggers and the trauma bonds. Y'all can be able to see how I do this inside of rawmotivations.com, so be able to check that out. How do you build boundaries? Biggest thing is being able to understand what is your limit. A boundary is not to limit and control another person. A boundary is for you, meaning like how much shit are you willing to tolerate? This is the line in the sand. You want to keep doing this? Okay, go ahead and keep doing this, but it's not going to be with me. So think of it for a moment. A lot of times people think of boundaries as being a limit or control on the other person. You're limiting or controlling him. He's going to tell you that, right? But you have to understand the difference. The difference is you look at narcissists being like, hey, I'm a person that wants to stay in an honest, loving, committed relationship. So that means if you want to go out and cheat, totally fine. Just understand that when you come home, you're not going to be with me anymore. You see what I mean? You're not telling him what he can or can't do. He can do whatever he wants. But at the end of the day, your boundaries, like your internal compass, morality says, hey, this is not what I want. So as a result, when he does that, you leave. Does that make sense? Does narcissist hate his mother but doesn't want to admit it? Not that I know of. Not that's not consistent with all narcissists. That's more of like Freudian thinking. Why are people attracted to narcissists? Because a lack of shame is confused with confidence, and the tendency to manipulate it has often caused you to view them as contempt. I'm not exactly sure what that means. I didn't really track all that. I had a toxic environment. I don't want to use it as an excuse. I want how to get rid of it, of gut problems and many inflammation diseases. A lot of those can come from being in a toxic environment. Are all narcissists resentful to their parents? I wouldn't say all of them, probably a lot of them. But yeah, Kayla said, like, you have to heal yourself in order to heal those issues. Good advice. Thanks for answering about boundaries. Yeah. Why is it so common to see narcissists that are also alcoholics? Because they're trying to numb the shame, they're trying to numb the pain, they're trying to numb different things. I'm not saying they're the victims. What do you do when the narcissist calls you the narcissist? Say okay and move on. Like, don't argue with crazy. Looking to heal my 9-year-old son. Jamie, the biggest thing that I've seen consistently is out of your own healing comes your kid's redemption. A lot of people want to try to heal their kids without healing themselves. And I'm not saying you're doing that, but I'm just saying I've seen this a lot of times. But a lot of times what happens is they focus so much on the kids healing, they don't focus on their own. Majority of what your kids are picking up is caught, not taught. So as a result, they're going to see how you're reacting, responding, growing, and developing. And if they don't see it, they're not going to actually do it, even if they're in therapy. Why do some narcissists zone out when driving? And does he come home and start an agreement with me and leave, and sometimes leaves for days at a time? It's not necessarily inherently narcissistic. Oftentimes narcissists do that, but yeah. Oh, what was that one? Is it better to forgive a covert narcissist ex or don't forgive? So great question, and there's a lot of people that are gonna have a lot of opinions on this. But I want you to understand, forgiveness is key in your healing. Now, the difference is forgiveness does not mean that you're letting the other person off the hook, and it doesn't mean that you're excusing the abuse. Listen carefully. Forgiveness is the mental release, okay, is the mental release of that person's control and influence over you. So, if you think of it this way, if you're not willing to forgive, letting go of it, then you're going to end up being bitter, wanting revenge, being frustrated, and constantly having him on your mind. If he's constantly on your mind, he's still winning. You're still losing. Forgiveness is super hard, but forgiveness is the mental and emotional release of his control and manipulation over you. It's not giving him a carte blanche and saying, oh, I forgive him and he's abstained from it. No, not at all. I can tell my boyfriend is narcissistic or is just busy and stressed, but I do feel he's pulling away, and I know it's hard because I cry a decent amount and I can't tell if it's me or him. Oh, look at the evidence. Evidence is what's going to set you free, the facts. What if you don't say anything, think anything positive about the narcissist? If they know your image of them is all negative, why wouldn't they leave? because they don't care what you think. They don't care if you think they're a good or a positive person. Like they're gonna go off of what they want mentally and emotionally. Keep reading half my comments. I'm sorry. Keep reading half. There, I read half. Just kidding. Um, uh, Kayla like laughs every once in a while. Being very angry all the time is a sign of narcissism. No, not at all. Do junkies mirror NPD? Knew an addict. Someone claimed she had NPD traits, maybe full NPD. I heard that everything fell into place, but someone said addiction and mirrors. What I would say with that is you could have a narcissist that's an addict, but the thing is you can't get to the narcissism to deal with the addiction first. So like if you can't deal with the like if you don't eradicate the addiction piece, you can never get to the narcissism piece. Just like when someone got offended because I said like toenail versus cancer, like you can't convince a narcissist that he has cancer if you can't convince about the toenail. Like you can't do that. Like you can't convince me he's a narcissist if you don't convince that he's a liar. It's like that whole thing. That whole thing. Can narcissists be alone for extended periods of time and how to handle the constant criticism about inconsequential things that don't matter? Understand that you're fighting crazy, and at the end of the day, like they can be alone. Oftentimes they're not going to be because they don't want to be alone. Addiction can cause narcissistic behaviors. I would say traits, but it's not going to inherently cause someone to be narcissistic. That's going to be already ingrained, and oftentimes it's going to come out or be sedated by the addiction. Why do narcissists never admit, even when you have proof? That's the whole piece of the shame and the guilt that they don't want to actually be accountable to. But if shame, but if shame is what they're trying to avoid, wouldn't they just want positivity as a supply? Um, so supply can be positive or negative. So like you could call out the narcissist, and he could view that as supply. Think of it this way: he could come and like slap you in the face, and then run away from you, and you're chasing him, screaming at him. In his mind, he's like, "Oh, look at that, she still loves me." Okay, like they can really screw a lot. Do you agree that leaving a narcissist may be sometimes the best thing you can do to help them as well as yourself? I 1,000% agree. And a lot of times people need to leave the narcissist because all they're doing is typically enabling him even more versus actually arising, growing, and developing themselves. Why would someone be narcissistic? Asked, don't you think you can do better than me? Don't you think you can? Don't you think you can do better than me? It sounds like a manipulative piece of trying to like put you down. Of like you can't do better than me. Narcissists can't be alone. They're empty. So even if alone, they're on their phone. Yeah, that's a good one. Where did you get your T-shirt? Where do we get this? This is a concert, right? But this was Lecrae? No, KB. Yeah. It's KB shirt. Oh, I'll show you the back. Oh, it's backwards. Crap. What's it say? I still believe in miracles, but it's from the artist KB. We heard him in concert, and I bought one of his shirts. Anyways, used to like the yeah, I used to like Bourbon too. Anyways, we got very distracted there. Narcissist Survivor T-shirts. We're working on our store actually. Meg, we're actually working on our store. We've got one of them that's inherent to some of our training, which is called Be the Buffalo, which means walking into the pain. Because if you don't actually walk through the pain, like work through the trauma, then you'll just run away from it and you won't actually heal. But that's one of the first ones I know is coming out. Was it okay that I reposted my statements? Probably. I just probably missed it because I was too busy talking about the shirt. Do you think red pill manosphere is just narcissism influenced with masculinity? I don't know enough about that 100% to give a really good comment. Not avoiding it, I just don't feel like I'm like enough versed in that to be able to answer that. How do you break the trauma bond? Simple answer: change the story that you believe. We walk people through what's called the freedom formula. You can get that inside of Survivor to Thriver, a new challenge that's out, like helping people actually break the trauma bond. But breaking the trauma bond is dealing with the facts. It's actually eradicating the lies that he's placed upon you and the lies that you believe. With stonewalling, you're being completely cold, distant, make them leave. No, not necessarily. That could make them rage out even more. You never know. You just call them and use them as needed. Bobby Lake, time for you to go bye-bye. Okay, we don't need that here. I had to be attacked before I finally left and broke my trauma bond. Don't be like me. It's so peaceful on the other side. Oh, yeah, a lot of times people take forever to leave. Max is furious that I finally left. I don't know a bunch of stuff about the red pill, so you're all making comments, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. Married last year, but never turned the marriage license in. He said he paid for a wife. Gosh, wow, good answer. The addict died the addict died 3 times in 2 weeks. Like died and came back. Like that's pretty impressive. She got out. She ghosted, and thank God. Damn, y'all are going through it. He moved on really fast with someone we don't know. Why does he entertain her and sleep with her? But he tells me he is so in love with me. And he's just keeping you on the line. He's trying to have his cake and eat his too. He's just using you as like having another prostitute. How to trust a narcissist again after he betrayed me many times. He's been good to me for months. I was shocked, but can I trust him? Can a narcissist really change? Can he change without you in the picture? Can he actually transform mentally and emotionally? And what is he actually doing about it? Like, I can show a trail of evidence of the growth and development in my life because the investment, the time, the therapists, the coaches, the mentors, all the different people helping shift my frame of who I am and how to be able to move forward. Most narcissists that change are like, I'm better. Look at that. I got Jesus and now I'm all healed. Yeah, that's a bunch of bullshit because there's a lot more effort that has to go into it. Kayla, did you pray for Ben during your separation? She already went upstairs, but yes, I know that she did. Do you think it led to making him change her life? I don't know what she would say. That's a really good question. I know that God is influential in all of it. Why would there be a sex bond with a narcissist, or is this a bond? You're going to have a trauma bond with a toxic person. It was watermelon. Now it's in my tummy. Anyways, I completely ghost and block the narcissist. Awesome. That's good. Like, you don't trust him, wait him out. You don't trust for months. Just consist. Yeah, it all comes back to consistency. Like, it has to be consistent. You have to see this long term. If you don't see this consistency long term, like, this is a big thing. Is secondary gaslighting a dangerous thing? Secondary gaslighting. I'm actually not sure. Fewer tests and resources to help me distinguish between gaslighting's primary and secondary features. I assessed that gaslighting is much the same way. Secondary gaslighting is just that, a behavior pattern that escalated secondarily in service of protecting the secret life. I guess I would answer that as gaslighting's gaslighting and is just lying and trying to convince you of a different reality. So yeah, it's worse. Chris, thanks so much. I appreciate it. How come he treated how come he treated like God by his girlfriend and his daughter? He's the best father where he has no contact with his biological children. Image and control. Dude, again, please don't say someone got offended. I didn't. I just think you gave the wrong advice. It's okay. I tried telling you why, but you jumped over it. I didn't mean to jump over it. There's like a million different comments. Like half the time I'm trying to read a comment and it's like gone. How do I get the courage to take him to court for custody? I'm scared of his real self to come to light. I've been out for 6 months. I need to do it. I'm terrified when he realizes that I'm not coming back. Biggest thing, like, do you have custody? Like, do you have all the kids right now? Because if it's something where he's not even pursuing it, but you can go no contact, I would like stay no contact and let him go to court um, for it all. Probably been with an Narcan on 3 different days, but for 4 months. Okay. Less than 1% of people are legit diagnosed with narcissistic personality, but it seems like everybody claims to be one or a victim of one. What gives? So it's really interesting because if you Google it, yeah, you're going to get that. And so here, let's Google it. How many people are diagnosed with NPD? Experts aren't sure how common NPD is. According to research, between 0.5% and 5% of the people in the US may have it. Between 50 and 75% of the cases affect men and people. Okay, so uh, 0.5 to 0.5 to 5% of the people in the US. So let's do something real quick. How many people are in the USA? Okay, right now 333 million people, and that's from a Google statistic of 2022. So, do I have my calculator on here? Calculator, there we go. It's on my iPad, so it's like funky and huge. I'm going to turn this sideways. So 333 million people. Doesn't have the commas, so this really sucks. Times, here we'll go point 0.25. Cannot calculate with this. There we go. Times 100,000. Okay, so point equals. Okay, so if we go with 2.5%, so it went from 0.5 all the way up to 5%. That's what Google said. So like you're a Google expert, so we're just going off of Google here. Right now, that says in the USA only, there would be the equivalent of. Let me calculate my zeros here. 8,325,000 diagnosed narcissists. Do we still want to just roll with that and just be like, hey, it's not that big of a deal and everybody thinks they're narcissistic because there's such a small percentage? If you didn't know already about narcissism, there's not a whole lot of narcissists lining up to get diagnosed. So when we want to start throwing out statistics to make you feel better, it really doesn't work. In fact, the reality is like 8 million of them are narcissists. It's still a lot of people. Most narcissists don't just impact one person. They impact their wife, new supply, their kids. One narcissist can have an impact on countless people. So when we want to go down the road of like only 1%, really what it is, when you start going off the only 1%, honestly, you start coming on my platform, it starts to sound like victim shaming. I don't really like that because it sounds like it's invalidating the people who have been in abuse. They don't care that it's 1%. For their world, that was 100% that destroyed who they were. They're not looking at it of like, oh, this person. Do you know how many people I talk to that they're with a toxic person that's abusive that's never diagnosed? I get on rants about different things because I'm passionate about what I do. I'm passionate about the people that I work with, and I'm passionate about helping people be saved. Not that I save them. I provide the container and the opportunity for people to transform. I know if I don't speak the truth, that someone else out there will commit suicide. I know if I don't speak the truth with passion, with excitement, with vigor, that there's going to be someone that's going to drink themselves to death because they had their kids taken away. I know if I don't speak in a way that breaks your frame, that for some of you wakes you up, that kind of smacks you upside the head, waking you up to the reality that doesn't matter about the label that you're with. The guy that you're with doesn't care, and I can prove that because there's no evidence. There's no facts. You can't put this in a court system and prove, yeah, he loves me and this is how. Why? Because he provides you a paycheck? I get passionate about what I do because I've seen the cost. That's why I don't deal with a bunch of BS. There's people out there that are dying. There's people out there that are completely destroyed. So the stuff that I do on a day-to-day basis is the endeavoring to help provide an awareness, a growth, a healing, and ultimately your transformation. Or you're not relying on me, you're not relying on a therapist, you're not relying on your friends and family, you're relying on you. If you're spiritual, you're relying on you and your connection to God. Because that's the only thing you can rely on for transformation. The facts will set you free. Truth has to be here for transformation. I believe ultimate truth comes from God. Not everybody believes that. That's fine. Still work with people if they don't believe that, because healing still comes to the fact of embracing the facts. This is why a lot of what I do is helping you heal, is breaking your frame. I have to do this inside the challenges that we put out. We've got the new Survivor to Thriver challenge that just released. This is what I do inside of the Thriver program, where we have women that are growing and developing and transforming their lives, but we have to break the trauma bond first. If we don't break the trauma bond, nothing else changes. You stay stuck. When you stay confused, you don't move. When you don't move, you die. You spiritually, mentally, emotionally erode inside. How often do you help a narcissist change with your program? If they watched you, do they see it or no? There's a few that do. Right now, on the guys' side of what I work with narcissists, there's probably about 15 or 16 guys right now. Why are so many homosexuals narcissists? Is there a connection with the type of men that are considered homeless and narcissistic? Homosexual? I don't know. A chemical thing, your dopamine is low, you get from them. Workout, it releases dopamine. So often I find myself paralyzed mentally and physically. Meg, you need to reach out. Like, go to realmotivations.com, either watch the video, apply for a breakthrough call, or jump in the Survivor to Thriver challenge. I literally bumped into your pages through YouTube shorts. Thanks. Glad you're here. What I do on a day-to-day basis is walk people through two things: a healing journey and a growth mindset. Healing journey is where we have to help you break the trauma bond and eradicate the triggers. You actually stop the cycle of going back to them mentally and emotionally over and over. Breaking the trauma bond has to happen for anything else to happen. This is why a lot of counselors and therapists are misguided, telling you just leave, just get over it, let's focus on all these positive things. If you don't heal from the trauma piece, nothing else works. Why narcissists have trouble sleeping? A lot of narcissists don't. Or even though he's a pretty social person, I'm not sure we're going that. Why not take your own advice? What advice is that? I'd love to know. What do you think of Lundy Bancroft's work? I don't remember what book did he do? Is that the I forget what book he did. Oh, why does he do that? Why does he do that? I've heard a lot of people that have enjoyed healing from that. Feel so lost and stuck. Narcissist made the past 6 months of my nightmare and just laughs at me and tells me all it's fault. He's going to continue to do that until you leave. Where can I get more support from your channel? Rawmotivations.com. Please shave. I got to trim it, but I'm not going to shave. I'm not going to bring baby face back out. Why don't they move on? A lot of times they're comfortable with using and abusing you. Can narcissists truly love if they're willing to drop their ego? Started seeking for himself and he told me I was a narcissist. Yeah, because he saw you were gaining your power. Once you've identified a trauma bond, what's your advice in healing it? You have to change the story you believe. Trauma bond is all built up of triggers that are controlling you and lies that have been placed upon you that you believe. So until you actually move down deeper to be able to like grow and develop those stories, to be able to eradicate them, you'll constantly tell yourself a different version of reality. You seem to want attention. Nope, just on here helping other people. You can't really show people the change in growth and development and help people from a closet. Do narcissists care that they hurt you? No, they don't. What is it about? It's about narcissistic abuse and how to heal from it. A lot of what I do is that. So if you go to rawmotivations.com, you can see a little bit more of what I do. Learned to watch you about 3 years ago. You've helped me so much, and I was lost after a 16-year relationship. I was totally lost in myself. Thank you. I am free. Sharon, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. So where to get a narcissist to realize that they have NPD? I really want to know how to help this person realize what they have and let me help them. You can't help them. So Alicia, you need to stop thinking that you can, because you're the one that they've used and abused and they don't respect you. You have to be able to get them to a place of seeing the honesty. If he's not want to be honest, then you're not going to be able to convince him. You're not going to be able to convince him of narcissism. I started singing for herself, and he told me I was a narcissist. Terry, yeah, he's gonna do that. Why will my narcissistic, violent, drug addictive, abusive son kill me? Based on everything you said, wouldn't be surprised. So you might want to actually be careful. Why narcissists pure confidence? The mask that they put out, so they can hide from the shame. No, not you. I'm responding to why not. Oh, I didn't see that. I'm sorry. How do you get a narcissist to care that they hurt you? They don't. That was Sophia. It came just to like punching the buttons. The alarm just said that there was like an issue, and so like I cleared it on my phone. I didn't know it actually like tell us that. Wish the negative people would shut up. Divine numbers, I get that. Like I saw your comment. You're good. Okay, I'm gonna wrap it up. Wrap it up. All right. Is gaslighting an intentional action or a byproduct of something bigger? Oftentimes a byproduct of shame. How do I avoid shame? Convince you that you're the crazy one, then I don't have to feel the shame. Can you turn it off too, so I don't trigger it when the dogs? Yeah. Okay. How to get a restraining order and run with my son? How can you tell if mother's a narcissist? Look up the traits. Is it true that narcissists become obsessive and they can't get information? They discard you oftentimes. Yeah. How to deal with an adult brother constantly trying to shame. Rage me to try to stand myself. Mom enables it. Try to force me interact with him. Yeah, you don't want to interact with him. It's gonna go through the same thing. Oh gosh. Meg, yeah, thank you so much. Like, if you want to work with me or some of the high level stuff that I do, when you go to rawmotivations.com, just look at the video, and then you can apply. Also, we do have the challenge that's out, Survivor to Thriver. But what I do inside of the call is we talk through the Thriver program. That's the main program that I work with, where I'm heavily involved. People have kind of like a carte blanche to be able to reach out, be able to contact. They're like, hey, I'm struggling with this. I'm like, hey, let's talk, let's work through it. We've got group coaching, got a lot of different things that's going on to be able to help with that. Would you say it's a survival mindset? Yeah, I can see a piece of that. Araceli, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Wasn't expecting that. Narcissists, yeah, are fake. Thanks for healing yourself and helping others. Thank you, Elizabeth. Appreciate it. Are narcissists and empaths connected in the same spectrum but opposite ends? I think I know where you're going with that, and I want to say no, but that's also like I'd have to break that down a little bit different, and I'm not gonna be able to do that at 10:30 at night. How do you decompress this so heavy for you? There's definitely a perk of some of the narcissism in the aspect that like a lot of this is not as much like heavily emotionally, because like logically I can speak to it. And there's a lot of different pieces I can like work through it. Does that make sense? Can narcissists recognize their traits in other narcissists? Yeah, definitely. Maybe in the wrong group, but how do I get through to narcissist? I'm not sure of what he even is. Um, so like if you're trying to convince him that he's a narcissist, if he's not going to admit that he's a liar, then like he's not going to acknowledge the narcissist piece. And if you're trying to save a narcissist, then yeah, you are in the wrong group, because I'm not about people trying to save the narcissist, especially when you've been abused by one. He's not going to respect you. A lot of narcissists are aware. A lot of narcissists are aware, they just don't care. You don't get through, you leave. Yeah. Like the thing you have to understand, like if you don't rise, then he's never going to notice anything. Like you're so focused on fixing him, he loves that because all this attention and focus is on him. He can play the victim and he keep using and abusing you. If you don't rise, if you don't grow, if you don't transform you, why do you expect him to change? So when they get dysregulated, start arguing, degrading, the best course of action to defend yourself or just be like exit the situation. Gray walk just seems to make it worse. Gray walk a lot of times is going to make it worse. You could use the BIF method, brief, informative, friendly, and firm, but it's going to be like moving out. Yeah, defend yourself. Like I wouldn't say verbally, because a lot of times you're going to just argue with you're going to be arguing with crazy. So act like you don't care. I don't know what we're saying there. But you can't go back. They think you're weak. Yeah. Narcissists think you're weak anyways. Like that's how he's looking at you because you keep accepting it. You keep allowing it. Do some narcissists try to screw with your life on purpose to get you to think about them and then realize they moved on? Yeah, 100%. Are you trying to become a star? No. Like a movie star? No. This is what I do every single day. Work with people to help their growth, development, and ultimately help them unlock transformation. Narcissists don't care about anyone but themselves. They care about their needs only. Yeah. They care about their mask. That's what the main thing. So they're more focused on their mask than anything else. Anyways, I'm about ready to wrap up. I gotta get some sleep. 4 a.m. comes early. Then cold plunge. Then eat my egg whites in the morning. Do a workout. Record my podcast. Oh, that's a new one. If you guys haven't heard, I have another podcast that's out right now called Real and Raw with Ben Taylor. I don't think I've ever announced it on a live event. So while y'all are here, check it out. It's on Spotify. It's on all the podcast platforms. But it's called Real and Raw with Ben Taylor. I sit down every single Sunday and I record a 30-minute podcast talking about my week before. Talk about the things that I'm learning, developing, what's going on like in here. Some people find it helpful. Some people don't. If y'all are interested in working with me, would love to be able to help you out. You can go to rawmotivations.com. There's a couple different pieces that I do. If you want more like closeness as far as like working together more or interacting more or getting answers from me inside of the healing and the transformation that I do, I'm mainly invested in the Thriver community. So if you go to my website, you can apply for a call and fill out an application, see if you're a good fit, and kind of move forward from there. For those of you that are looking of like, hey, I want to do stuff on my own, or I want to kind of work in a smaller environment, you can go to Survivor to Thriver. That's an option as well. There's a lot of different pieces here that we try to do. We try to have an option for everybody, really, because this piece is to be able to help you grow and develop. Is there a platform to chat with all the other victims? Every program that we have has a community or a tribe, like people there. Eat the yolks, healthiest part. No, I do the egg whites for the protein, and also the yolks make me gassy. So I don't eat the yolks right now. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Need all your help. Meg, yeah, reach out for help. Um, there's so many different things that we offer. So, like, I feel like when I say all of them, it just makes people overwhelmed. It really just depends on what you're looking for and how I can help. We figure out the best way to be able to help people in so many different venues and aspects. So, just reach out. Go rawmotivations.com. A little bit of help. The biggest thing with it is, let me put it this way, and this is a sales pitch because it doesn't make or break me if you come work with me or not. Okay, it's an opportunity, it's not an obligation. But the thing I want you to realize is if you stay around just watching my content to ground you, there's a piece of it that I don't feel like you heal fully. It doesn't mean I leave things out. I share a ton of stuff in my videos that I teach, but I just teach it. It's a different level when I teach it, and it's a different level when I hold you accountable to it. But when you're inside the piece of just going through and just looking at content nonstop to ground you, there's also a piece that like we're not actually moving through the pain. That's the whole big thing. The applying for a call, like that's just a free call. So you just go through and be able to check that out. The Survivor to Thriver challenge, right now that's out. That's $297. It's a 30-day challenge. You have access for 60 days to all the tools and the accountability, all the things that I use, that I teach, that we preach on all different levels. But inside the Thriver community, there's different levels of what we actually do there with group coaching, with office hours, with 24/7 tech support with me. Like if you have questions or working through different things, then we definitely help support in a ton of different ways. So, best friend told you to find me. That's awesome. A lot of times we'll see people that refer being like, hey, this works, reach out. Biggest weapon against a narcissist is silence in person. Do not react no matter what. You can watch them slowly break down. You realize there's on that. Roy, get lost. There you go. Goodbye. Gotta love it. It was interesting because like when I first started on social media, I first started on Instagram. And on Instagram, I started on my personal platform at first, and I had a lot of Christians come after me. They were like, you shouldn't talk about this, all this kind of stuff. And then so I stopped. I stopped for a while. And then I went to TikTok. And TikTok was like the main one that I was on for a while. And TikTok I had the most like acceptance and love. Like it was really weird. But people are just like, oh, thank you for sharing this. Then I came to YouTube, and initially like YouTube was like all trolls. Like we would get so many trolls on YouTube. Y'all have been really awesome tonight. But we get so many trolls on YouTube. Like I'd have people, I'd be telling about my story, I'd be talking about stuff, and I had people type in like cheater into the comments, or they'd type in like each letter, like just to spam the comments. And I would get so annoyed because I'm like, no shit, like I'm telling you that this is who I've been. I'm telling you this is what's going on. But it was interesting. YouTube was very trolly at the beginning, so there's a lot of times, sometimes it's a little trolly as well. I'm a Christian. Seems like you're doing good work helping people grow. I appreciate it. There's a big piece. I was talking to someone today who struggles with the whole piece of like Christianity, and because of the abuse, because of everything. And I was like, I get it. I was like, a lot of my life, Christianity was all based on conformity, not connection. I believe in a relationship with God more than I do with like making sure that you look or act a certain way. A lot of times the church is made up of plastic people, and a lot of times the church is made up of liars. And so it's easy for covert narcissists to hide in churches. Yeah, 100%. Go to a real church. So like when we moved, we visited a church a week for, I don't know, about 6 months, 8 months or so. So yeah, I get it. You want me to go to a real church, but at the same time, you have to realize there's lots of churches out there that are super fake. So, like, end of the day, appreciate the advice, but it's not really the greatest because that's what we've been looking for. Um, it's hard to find people that are real. It's hard to find people that are honest. That's the biggest thing. That's why, like, when I first started my growth and development, it wasn't in the church. Now it's deeply connected with God every single day. But there is also a piece of I had to learn how to not be a liar anymore. Because lying is what blocks you from God. Lying is what blocks you from like Christianity. Like it blocks you from like I was lying to myself, I was lying to others, I was lying to every single person. But the biggest thing is I was lying to myself and I was lying to God. So as a result, like nothing was gonna change. Like that's our thing is like God's not a narcissist. Like God's not gonna force you to do something. He gives you free will. So then it's hard because you have this free will, and so you can still be a liar. Still be a liar, and then nothing changes. That was our thing because you'd have people be like, just love God better. You know, is there a platform to connect with other victims? Lindsay, yes. Sorry, I thought I answered that. All of our programs connect with victims. The thing is, what you'll find inside of my programs is there's not a place for us to sit around the campfire and sing kumbaya, and there's not a place for everybody to sit around and commiserate how bad their stories are. I don't take time for that because I don't believe in it, because a lot of it just puts people in a victimhood mindset and doesn't actually help them grow. I'm about people taking action. Uh, Frankly, that's it. I'm about people taking action. I had someone who was frustrated with some of my coaching a little while ago on one of my lives or whatever. And the thing that I expressed to him, I was like, hey, I get it that you're frustrated that I'm not stopping and dealing with someone's deep, dark trauma right now. But at the end of the day, like this person needs to take action. If they don't take action, they're going to be stuck here forever. So like I have to help a person take action. If they don't take action, like nothing changes. Every single one of our groups has communities, has tribes, has people to be able to connect and grow and develop. But the thing is it's mainly so that they can show up real and raw and honest, and be able to see other people doing so in a safe environment. Because you have to get honest about what's going on. If you don't get honest, then nothing changes. Huge connection between sex, trafficking, and victims of narcissists. Yeah, I can see that. I'll offer you an opportunity to experience real church. Come to Syria. Consider it an adventure. Appreciate it. Can you tell us a little bit more about whether you struggle with lack of empathy and how you perceive it? Yeah, I would say I struggle with it. It's a lot easier now. Um, Taking care of everything around the house for like the past 2 weeks with Kayla recovering from our baby, there was like a piece of me that was like, I'm exhausted. Uh, not because of the work. I was like, I'm exhausted of doing all the work and then having to take care of emotions. So like, there's a difference. Like there's a capacity that I reach, but there's also why I do stacking, why I do things every single day to help change my mindset. Otherwise, a pity party, yeah, I don't do that. I don't do pity party. Don't ever let the trolls bring you down. It's the first time I've seen. There was a piece of me initially on that was more worried about the trolls because I'd react to them, and then people would be like, "Oh yeah, see, he's a narcissist." Which is so stupid because like I am one, but it's also stupid because it was interesting. I was talking to one of many coaches and mentors, one guy that's helping me just inside the business. And I was talking to him, and I was like, it's hard sometimes doing what I do because I'm providing transformation and growth and helping people, but at the same time, like there's a charge, there's a fee. Like this is what I do. This is my living. This puts food on my table. And I was like, the story I had in my head was, I'm afraid the more I grow and develop, the people are going to call me a narcissist. And it was just funny because he looked right back at me. He's like, "Yeah, they will. Like, get over it. Like, you're gonna help the people that are willing to be helped. You're gonna help the people that are willing to invest in themselves. And there's other people that you're just not." And that's the thing is like we work with people on multiple levels. We work with people of having, I've got tons of free content. So like I love it. People will get super upset being like, how can you charge for all this? I'm like, I've got thousands of videos. I've got more videos than a lot of other people. I've got thousands of videos talking about narcissism, talking about how to heal, all this kind of stuff. We've got a 7-day challenge for $7. We've got Survivor to Thriver, which is a pre-launch, which is $297. Then we've got our Thriver community, which is a higher ticket price. It's multiple thousand, but the level of support that I can give at that is much higher. So there's a lot of different pieces that we do. I've got a couple one-on-one clients that are working with me for a year, and those are high ticket. Because at that point, like I'm not just working with them to heal narcissism. Like there's lots of different pieces. I've got one of my clients in Australia that we've been working to help her through narcissistic relationships, but we've also, it's impacted her family, it's impacted her business. Like she's gone up multiple 7 figures just while we've worked together. Because if we start actually working on eradicating different pieces that's holding her back mentally and emotionally, it opens up space for her to grow and develop. So there's a lot of different pieces, a lot of different things we do. I don't know. I got on like a random tangent about that, but it was awesome when a troll said, "Oh, he's a narcissist," and you're like, "Yeah, I'm a narcissist." Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. There was this argument: those don't feel empathy. Narcissists do feel, but it's more oriented to themselves. Oriented to themselves. That's the only piece that catches me on that comment. Oriented to themselves. I have empathy towards myself. No, not really. That's weird. I'm just not willing to acknowledge the empathy because of how it'd make me feel. Put it that way. What made you decide to help other people? Good question. It wasn't the initial intent. This is more of, well, God directed me. I started on social media just putting out content. Part of it was to burn the ships, to be able to say, hey, expose it all. This is the shit that I've done. And I started having people reach out being like, hey, can you answer some questions? Hey, can I schedule an appointment? I'm like, I don't really do that. I start off like, I start off at what? I start off, you could have an hour appointment for like $55. That was like my initial thing. And started talking to people, met with thousands of clients, and then started to see patterns, patterns of behavior, patterns of healing, and started to see different modalities that would actually help people heal from it. So we started putting it into programs and into systems, into tools that would actually help people break free. That's the biggest thing. Is like my goal is to help bring people to transformation. I can't make you transform. I can't make you change. Just like you can't make the narcissist change. But I can give you tools. I can create the container for you to get real with your trauma and work through it. Not even remembering or reliving it, but processing the facts of the situation because the facts are what sets you free. It's a demon behind you. The dog, Charlie. You sleeping, bro? Psst. Is your leg asleep? You ready to go outside or you ready to go to bed? Hmm? No. 18 years from a narcissist broke me with mother, also from Southern, and helping so much with the truth. Appreciate it. Family keeps telling me to see a therapist. Lindsay, check out rawmotivations.com. If this live resonates or some of the stuff I do resonate, then reach out. Like I've got a lot of people. This past month, we've had several people sign up or come into our program specifically because they were tired of therapy. It just wasn't working for them. It's not bashing therapy, and that's their words to me. Like they were kind of moving. They were moving. What am I trying to say? They kept moving them to like different therapists that didn't know what they were doing. We've had several people that have been with us and dropped their therapy or gotten rid of it. Not because the therapist is bad, but just wasn't giving them results. So I believe in bringing people to action. Question: what was exactly your plan to get rid of this? What was exactly your plan to get rid of what? What, NPD? Like how to get rid of my NPD? EMDR therapy, CBT therapy, DBT therapy, Splunkna therapy, Sozo, energy work, stacking, honesty. There's like a million different things. But it's all about growing and developing to a different version of me, who I'm becoming. I put up a couple posts on Instagram, well, on here, different posts of talking through like my transformation, because like the reason why I like to share about my transformation is not so I can be like, oh, look at me, I've transformed, but it's to show that you can do the same. Like on podcast is real and raw with Ben Taylor, yeah, yeah. And then there's regular podcast, there's raw motivation, but that's just YouTube. It's the same stuff. All right, I'm getting ready to jump off because it's late. I gotta wake up in a couple hours, like 5 hours, probably. So, Carol, check out. I've got self-aware narcissist. Like, check out just Google the YouTube video self-aware narcissist. I'll give you a little bit longer. Narcissistic dad. Now I want nothing but narcissist therapy is a joke. Whitney, reach out. You've been conditioned based on your dad, and you're going to keep cycling until we break the trauma bond. We don't get rid of it. You grow. Narcissists are forever. They just narc for good. Well, I'll let you know how it goes because I'm going to keep growing and developing. Anyways, y'all have a blessed, wonderful evening. All right, let's go outside. Gracias. All right. Y'all have a blessed, wonderful evening. If I can help you at all, please just go to rawmotivations.com. On there, you're going to see a video just directed to you of like where you're at. If it resonates with you, click on the application. Let's talk. If it doesn't resonate with you, then keep scrolling on. If it's not something where you want to work with me, or if it's not a good fit, then check out the Survivor to Thriver Challenge. Okay. Is this recorded somewhere? Yeah, it'll get posted. Once I finish, it'll post to YouTube. Okay. This narcissist supply but serves a good purpose. They don't change their supply, changes to good deeds. Gaslights. Good thanks. Yeah. All right. Y'all have a blessed and wonderful evening. We'll see y'all next time. Take care.